Welcome everybody to the Stitch and Hustle podcast show. My name is Jacob with Leathercraft Nation. Today we are going to be talking about branding yourself and your side hustle, starting with the fact that there's so much crappy branding out there, horrible logos, and yet we think that we can just skip out on branding and I'll have a good logo and think that we can sell products and get our name out there. So smash that like button if you're all about branding, all about good logos, good colors, and showing your true identity for your side hustle. So the thing is, with defining your brand identity, you've got to understand why you need it. Like, why do you need to put an image or text or something to associate it with your brand, with your company? So it's like, you're walking through a store, and I know a lot of people do it because I do it. If there's something that you want to try, whether it's a bag of chips, something new, new shoes, new whatever, like, we purchase with our eyes, especially if it's something new. And, a lot of people look at the logo and the brand and they associate it with a good product. It's crazy how something as simple as the Nike swoosh or swoosh, whatever, is so worldly well known. And you don't even have to have any wording. Like, you don't have to have Nike underneath it for people to know that that's Nike. And I'm not saying that you can get your brand identity, get your logo set up, and immediately take your name off of it and expect people to know who you are. But you've got to start somewhere. You've got to make something to associate your brand with you. And that can be as simple as putting a little bit of text together in a very creative way. You can actually make a logo. If you have a specific color scheme for your business, for your side hustle, and incorporate that, a specific color scheme for your business, for your side hustle, and incorporate that. Here's my thing when it comes to branding and logos, and I have a lot of experience with graphic design, with branding. It's one of my huge pet peeves, my passion, and it drives me up the wall when I see poor branding. And but one thing I can't stand a whole lot of is when if you're a construction company, if you build houses and your logo's a house, like it drives me up the wall. Like, it's so overused. Like, if you're going to do something like that, you really need to be creative somehow with it, where it doesn't look like every other construction company. If you're a woodworker, and you use a chisel, like that's your niche is carving, like, quit making logos like everybody else where it has a dang chisel or a hammer, a mallet, or wood grain. Like, stop it. Like, stop with making logos look like what you do. Like, if they can't figure it out in your image and your company name, like, if it's so separated from what you do, then I would really revisit how you're defining your brand identity. You got to be solid with it. Like, you can't be wishy-washy about the fact that I saw a TikTok the other day, and it talked about This guy goes in this coffee shop, and he goes in and all he wants is a regular cup of coffee. And he looks at the menu and it doesn't have any coffee on it. Like, it doesn't say coffee. Like, okay, I just want a cup of coffee. And so he looks at the barista and he's like, hey, I want a cup of coffee. And okay, well, we have coffee. Well, I can't tell because it doesn't say coffee. Well, what kind do you want? Well, I just want coffee. Okay, well, well, the guy's looking at the sign outside and it doesn't even say anything about coffee. It's something crazy. Like, you got to understand that some customers just aren't that smart. And I know that's really sad to say, especially when I'm trying to get customers. But sometimes you just have to spell it out. Like, you have to let them know what you do. But again, you can't. It's that fine line where you can't design your brand to look like everybody else's, but it can't be so extreme where people are guessing what you do. So the other thing is you've got to kind of create a story behind it. Like, when you design your logo, it shouldn't be just that. Like, you've really got to set the tone for your brand. Like, you've got to let people know, again, what you do and what path you're taking. People think that branding just stops with the logo, or the letterhead or the banner on YouTube. And it's a lot more than that. Does it tie in? Do you have a website? Does it tie in with that? If you make a product and you but if you put, stickers or a card, when they open that, does it connect with the purchase? Like, can they see that, oh yeah, I looked at the website and all this ties in together. And my thing is, if you don't have good branding, it kind of falls apart. Like, what separates you from just buying something off of Amazon where they just throw it in the mailer, a bubble mailer, you get it, you just rip it open and you throw the packaging away. Like, I know not all of us have the ability, the funds to have the branding of Apple, where you have a wallet and it sits in perfect with a little tab that pops up. Like, okay, if you can do that, great, but you don't have to go to that extreme. But wouldn't it be nice that you just didn't throw a wallet or whatever you're making in a bubble mailer and call it good? Like, we did wood ornaments for Christmas, and this wasn't anything crazy. Like, we did use bubble mailers, but we had the foam piece cut out, and we did this on the laser, and I know not everybody has one, but we cut out the shape that it insets. So it wasn't crazy packaging, but when they opened it, like, they knew that it was more than just bubble wrap and piece of tape. It's just going a little bit above and beyond, where they see that branding association with your website and your logo and the card or sticker that you put in it. Like, it all has to tie together. So be sure to put something together. Go a little bit deeper on the connectivity. So if they do have that card sitting on the counter, like, they remember. And you don't have to put a card, but some people like stickers. I get stickers from companies all the time. I don't even know what to do with it. I saw a really cool thing where this woodworker took the stickers from all the places that he got stickers from, companies, sticker exchanges and stuff, and he put a magnetic backing on it. And what was cool is, like, he stuck it to his garage door, And he's like, yeah, if I ever move, then I can take them with me. I was like, that's genius, that you can do that. But I'm all for stickers. Like, there's some things, and I was all into print design way before leathercraft, woodworking, and all this other stuff. And I can tell you that I have a soft heart for graphic design. Like it's my thing. I really enjoy it. So I like sharing, stuff like that. And how to get your digital presence out there. Like, you don't have to have design experience to make it. Like, there's a ton of people out there that will either use like Fiverr, or just a local graphic designer to make them something. Heck, you can go into places like FedEx Office and have one made. Etsy. Like, there's places where you can get your logos. Canva, yes. Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Edgeworks Leather. Canva is awesome. And I am a big Adobe fanatic. Like, that's what I grew up using, even in early 2000s. I'm trying to think if I did it any in the 90s. I think it's early 2000s. But no, Canva has a free option. And you can do so much with just the free option. Like, you don't have to pay to do some good graphic design. You're limited on like your images and what font choices and stuff. But man, if you just want to play with it, like, yeah, Canva, I'm glad you mentioned that. It is good. You can get, I want to say it's the Adobe Express, for like 10 or $15 a month. Like, it's pretty inexpensive. It's like, Adobe's version of Canva, paid version. And that's pretty good. But yeah, if you want to design your own, those are some options for you. And Canva, you don't have to have, in my opinion, you don't have to have design experience. But like, if you're wanting, excuse me, an actual logo of like an illustration, that's where you might have to either hire it out, or you might have to get Illustrator and learn some of these programs on how to design. And that can be frustrating for people that don't have any design experience, and they think, okay, well, if a graphic designer is going to charge me, a couple $100, which, I mean, that's dirt cheap. Like, if they're good, you might want to take that offer. But I understand, not everybody can afford it. But you have to understand, if it's a good graphic designer, they're going to charge what they're worth. They're going to charge for the logo. They're going to charge for a branding package. And I think that's where a lot of people don't understand that, you can design your own logo, in whatever program, but it may not work in all applications. And what I'm talking about is, so if you're thinking about getting into any type of social media, if you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to do YouTube, TikTok, all these different platforms, and you're like, okay, well, I need my logo to work for my banner on this platform. I need my logo to work on my website. I need the little thumbnail over here. Like, you have to understand that if your logo is this big icon with text real long, it may not work for certain applications. And if you tell a good graphic designer that, hey, I need you to make me a logo that's going to work in my website, on all my social media platforms, I need you to make me a banner. Like I want a package, and you're going to pay some money. But like I said, Edgeworks Leather hit it on the nail with Canva. He says I paid for a month of Canva and got most of my branding done, but very agreed on limitations. So yeah, so that's the other thing. Like these platforms or these Canva, like you could pay for a month or two, get all the stuff that you need done, stop your subscription, and just keep the free version. Like you don't need the paid version. It might benefit you on certain things, like if there's certain, like I said, font choices, photos that you want to use for your branding. Because all of that is like when you're paying for it, you can use it for your branding and everything, which is nice. I like it. Adobe's the same way for the Adobe Express. I can use whatever fonts, whatever pictures that are included that for my branding, which is nice. Because sometimes you don't have the perfect picture, and some of their stock photography is okay. It can help out. Like you don't have to pay for stock photography for some of your branding. I wouldn't go overboard on stock photography, because if you've used it for your side hustle, your craft, whatever you're in, more than likely someone else has already done it. So be careful with that. Be careful with oversaturation of certain fonts, certain styles, certain photos, certain stock photos. It's almost that concept of you want a tattoo, and you look through the book and you're like, I want that tattoo, and you get it. You go to the grocery store and you see 5 other people with the same tattoo, and you're like, well, I thought I was being original. Then I realized that everybody has my tattoo. So I'm sure it's happened to someone. Hopefully it hasn't happened to you. And then the other thing to go with, once you get your logo set up, like for Leathercraft, I had a stamp made with my logo, and that's what I stamp all my products. So if you don't have your file set up for the company that makes your prints, your stamps, your signs, your stickers, it could cost you. Like it could cost you more money, because you're having to take this original logo that you had and you're having to pay someone to alter it or to convert it into the type of file that they need. So just know that when you're talking about making a logo, you want to make sure that it works for multiple applications. And it's not just about print. It's not about digital work. Like I said, a brass stamp, which if you're curious about it, Leather Stamp Maker is where I get the stamps from. They require certain specifications to be able to make their stamps. So, of course, with the experience that I have, I'm very fortunate to be able to get all that done myself, not have to pay those fees. But just know that people will charge for them. And if your side hustle is doing graphic design, I highly suggest stuff like that, where you offer brand identity packages that you can do everybody's logo and website and everything else, and really get them set for their brand. But the next thing is, we talked about, the website, social media. When it comes to your social media, you've got to pick and choose which ones you want and who or where you're going to post what information. If you're going to do TikTok, if you're going to do YouTube, what are you doing and how are you going to structure it? Because your brand may work for one platform and it may not work for another one. There's certain platforms that I really don't post on. Like, I have it there just as a filler, but I don't gain a lot of traction. I don't get a lot of much volume coming through. And I've tried posting, like it might be me. There's no telling. But just starting out, you can get overwhelmed by posting constantly on all platforms and gaining no traction. So my suggestion, double down on what's working. If you're on TikTok, post consistently. And this goes for every platform for that. Post consistently. You don't have to post 100 times a day. I post about 3 or 4 times a day. Sometimes a little bit more, especially if it's a day that I'm off. Weekends, try to get a little bit more. Or the other thing is make a longer video and use clips out of that to do some of your short form video. Is a great way to do that. And again, it's all part of the branding. Like, you're trying to create a brand, you're trying to create a story, you're trying to create a relationship with people that potentially could buy something from you. So you want to make sure that you're giving them the full package. Like, let them know that, hey, I'm coming here to sell you X, Y, and Z. This is my brand. Check out the link. Which if you're into leathercraft, definitely check out mine. Little plug in there. But you've got to build your audience and your brand at the same time. If you're doing it on other platforms, whether it's short form or long form, I think you should be doing both. Especially for your side hustle, especially for any type of branding. Like, it all ties in. It all ties in. Your website, your social media. And if you're in a side hustle like leathercraft or any type of crafting side hustle, you don't need a website. You can get on Etsy and you can put your logo, your icon on that. But you can always do a website. And again, if you don't have any design experience, you might have to source that out. You might have to check into, places like, what's some good websites, like Shopify or, trying to think of the other one, Squarespace. You can check stuff like that where you can set up a template, move stuff around, but you're limited to that. So there's some limitations there, but those are some options where you can continue your branding, get your presence out there. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're getting your name out there. Even if you're not selling a product, website's good. I always suggest having an online presence outside of social media. So if anything happens, there's somewhere where they can go for information. The other thing is, what type of audience are you reaching? How are you reaching them? Cool thing about marketing these days is you don't have to send out postcards anymore. Like, you can get into the social media platforms, post something, promote it, and only push it to people that you want to see. Whether it's, an age demographic, gender demographic, or regional. You only want to market to people within 100 square miles or 100 mile radius. Excuse me. You can do stuff like that. Like it's not as blind of a reach like it was back in the day with mailing out postcards. Like I look at postcards and I keep thinking, why do people keep doing that? Like I think it's a waste of money. Because you can spend a fraction of the cost of printing and push a post, promote it. So same thing goes for like Etsy. Like you can pay to promote products. So you pay a little bit of money. They're only going to charge you for the ones that are either being viewed or the ones that they actually clicked on. So the thing with Etsy is like they want your product to be seen. One, you need a good product, but they want you to be seen. Like if you have a good brand, a good product, they're going to push that to people that want to buy that type of product. Because guess what? If you're making money, they are making money. And they have all their fees and everything else, but Etsy's one of those platforms where they want to make money. They have the audience already. They just got to get that connected to your product. So is it a good thing? There's some mixed feelings about that. Whether or not Etsy's the best platform. I think it is for beginners, or people that don't have time to maintain their website. Me right now, I just don't have time to deal with the website. I can do it so much faster on Etsy. Now, once I get everything scaled up to a point, then it'll benefit me to have my own website. But right now, go with that. So, but guys, make sure if you're really talking about branding, you just can't stop with just a logo. You can't stop with just a few posts here and there on social media. If you're really trying to get your name out there, you're going to do a little bit. So, got a comment here. I can't wait to get my website running and save some of those Etsy fees for my engraving. I feel you there. They're brutal. Especially if you're kind of in that stage of, like you're making a lot of sales and you're trying to transition how to get that traffic over to your website. Love that. Yes. Best book, Gary V's Crushing It. Very good book. Whether you get it on audio or on, paperback. The other one is, I'm drawing a blank. 10X Rule. I think it's 10X Rule. Let's see. Make sure I have that right. Let's see. 10X Rule. Book. Yeah, the 10X Rule. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's not Gary V. My bad. It's 10X Rule with Grant Cardone. So, books by Grant Cardone, Gary V are some really, really good books and people to listen to for not just brand, but just business, or it doesn't even matter if you have a business. Like, Gary V he's going to tell you how it is. Like, he ain't going to mix words. He might throw a few offensive words out there, but check out 10X Rule. The other one I haven't read yet, but a good friend of mine has suggested was is it hold on, guys. Hold on. It's by Gary V. I'm gonna get it here. But yeah, Gary V's awesome. Like I said, okay. Jab Jab Right Hook by Gary V. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard some really good stuff on it. Then he's doing a follow-up book, and it's hilarious how he promotes this. He's like, it's like a profound, title, and he's like, oh yeah, it's going to be Jab Jab Left Hook, and so that's what he's naming his next book is Jab Jab Left Hook. I don't think that's out yet. I think he's still working on that one. But good stuff. Whether you read his books, listen to his podcasts, are good. Just hit 1,000 on my Laserwood TikTok, and so started lives this week as well. Heck yeah, nice. I'm just now getting into the lives. I'm just getting into the whole podcast thing myself, so it's very new to me. So if you're new, and this is all part of the branding, like this is something I'm working on myself. Like I'm not an expert in any of this. I do feel that I'm very well rounded when it comes to graphic design, even though I don't get to do as much as I want. I think I'm just doing too much at one time, it seems like. But so the podcast is something new, and a friend of mine that has his own following, like he has his own niche, very successful. It's like, man, you need to do a podcast. I'm like, man, I don't have time for a podcast. He's like, no, just go live for 30 minutes, give or take. And then with TikTok, so when you're doing your lives, you can go back into the settings and go to your replay and download your live, the whole thing. And so you take that, and I don't know if you have your YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel set up or not. Man, if you're really trying to push any type of social media, try and make some money, like it's going to take a little bit of time, but if you don't have one, then look at that. Set up your YouTube account, and you don't even have to make individual videos. You take that replay from your from your TikTok. Take your replay from your TikTok and post it onto YouTube as just a video. And then do a really cool thumbnail on Canva, free. Like I said, you do your live on TikTok, free. You post on YouTube, free. Like, none of this costs any money, guys. Like, you can do all of this and start gaining, or getting a following on multiple platforms. Also look at Profit First by Mike. I'm not going to try to say that. I'm going to butcher that. For Money, Michael Witz. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Nice. I have a YouTube channel, but never posted anything. Okay, so it honestly depends on how dedicated you are to doing this or not. Like, I'm not telling anybody that they have to do this to be successful. You don't need any of that. It's just, right now, YouTube and TikTok, like all these platforms are pushing short form content. And so, like, if you're making some videos on all these platforms, TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, like, I get it, it gets overwhelming, and that's why I've kind of niched down to, or I've doubled down on like TikTok and YouTube. I'm having a hard time gaining traction on like Facebook and Instagram. And I've tried photos and reels and all that other stuff, and still, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but on that. But yeah, if you have your YouTube channel, I highly suggest, if you're into TikTok and you're already doing the videos, look into posting your shorts, because you can blow up very easily. Like, I know some other leather crafters that have well over 1 million followers or subscribers on YouTube, and they have done nothing but post shorts. Here's the problem with only posting shorts. Once you get enough hours to get into the partner program, paid partner program, you don't get paid as much. That's the only thing that I don't like. So you've got to balance that out. You've got to do some long form content, and you've got to do some short form content. An Airbnb buddy recommended that one. It is about how to make yourself reinvest in yourself. Yeah, you've got to. You definitely have to reinvest in yourself. I don't think you have to. I mean, spend everything. I know some people do. I mean, I've done that for a little bit, where every bit of money that I made when I was doing woodworking went straight back into tools and stuff. And like right now, pretty much everything is going into leather. Like, I want to sell leather goods and products to help other leather crafters, but I also want to do some social media, some influencer type stuff. And to do that, like, you have to be able to buy leather or products or raw material to make stuff that isn't necessarily going to sell. So, what I use for editing, so the short form content, I do everything on an app called Captions. Captions is great. Another one is CapCut. I believe CapCut is free. Captions, I want to say it's like $10 a month, maybe. But they look professional. Like, you know how you add the captions. You can go and add like your emojis. Like, you can really make it look like some of the other professional TikTokers and videos for short form. Cool thing is, it doesn't have any type of watermarks or anything. Yeah, CapCut's awesome. Because the only thing I don't like about Captions is it doesn't have a green screen option. I like CapCut because it does. If you use any type of green screen, like I said, a buddy of mine that does his own, he has his own channel. He does like 99.9% of his stuff is with the green screen, because he creates these sick looking AI artwork. So it works for him. But yeah, CapCut's good. Like I said, Captions is good. If you're doing any type of like long format content, then you probably want to look into, well, honestly, the only one I can really suggest is Adobe Rush. And again, that's just because I'm an Adobe brand snob. I hate to put it that way, but I'm comfortable with it. That's what I've been using for, gosh, 20 years or more. So maybe even longer than that. But I'd say at least 20 years I've been doing or using Adobe products. So I'm familiar with that. But you can use like iMovie if you have iPhone. Like you don't need fancy editing software if you're doing any type of like long form content. So just don't feel like you have to do that. Let's see. I'm going to go back here. I'm missing some racing custom signs. How's it going? All of my CNC sales have got right to new tool, gone to right new. That's what I'm thinking. Gone to new tools. My first big sign I upgraded to bigger CNC. Heck yeah. No, that's the way to do it. Like, if you're in a position where you can reinvest in yourself, like especially if it's a side hustle and this is just extra money, like you don't need it to pay for, certain bills or, whatnot. Like, I highly suggest reinvesting it in yourself, in your side hustle, your business. Now, if not, might take you a little bit longer to kind of pay some bills and put some back in savings, and then invest a little bit, kind of spread it out. But if you're not investing or reinvesting in yourself, like you're gonna die. Like it's the business, the side hustle, it will slowly wither away because you're not growing. You're not growing. And I'm not saying like you have to get new equipment every single time. Like definitely nothing like that. But it could be something as simple as I'm going to reinvest in myself. I'm going to go take a course. I'm going to go to VidCon and see Gary Vee. I'm going to go to 10X, see Grant Cardone, stuff like that. Another one, if you haven't checked it out, is Think Media. Think Media channel, Think Media podcast. And again, this all ties into like branding yourself, whether it's, again, short form, long form, YouTube, TikTok, Think Media. They have the Think Media channel that they have tips on, growing your channel. They have the Think Media podcast. I like podcasts. Like I don't have an extremely long commute, but I can, it's actually fairly short, 15 minutes. Some people, live in areas where it's like an hour commute. But yeah, if you can cram in like a good podcast in your commute and gain some information, or you're listening to an audiobook and you're like, okay, well, I can listen to 15 minutes of that. Definitely do that. Like, like you said, it's not all about the equipment. It's not all about that. Like, you should invest in yourself and buy some courses, buy a book, learn something. If you don't know how to edit in a certain program and you want to, like, I think it's vital that if this is the path that you're going, where you're wanting to do social media, you're wanting to make videos, but you're wanting to make them look as professional as possible. Like you've got to put the work in. Like you've got to get the program, got to spend a little money, and that's part of the other thing. Reinvesting in your business is, sometimes you might need that computer that can handle the software. Oh, and then that's the other thing. If you're getting paid software like Adobe, then you're probably going to need to invest a little bit of money in stuff like that. Adobe software, unfortunately, is subscription based. I wish you could buy it outright, but it is nice to get the upgrades, updates and everything when they come out. But learning stuff like that, whether you go through, I'm trying to think, like Skillshare, or you go through any type of other course, like it pays to learn some of this stuff. It pays to learn how to edit properly. It pays to learn how to make good thumbnails for your videos. But again, Canva's awesome for beginners. So just know that you don't have to have expensive software to do stuff like that. You also do not have to have expensive gear. You don't need the fancy mic. You don't need the fancy camera. You could simply pick up your phone and press record and start making videos. And that's what I did. Like, I don't have a fancy camera. I'm doing this all on the phone. Maybe one day I'll have a nice camera, but it's not necessary. You don't have to have a $3,000 camera. Nice thing about the phone is you can shoot everything on the phone. You can edit everything on the phone. You can post everything on the phone. Like back in the day where you would have been, taking a camera and taking the SD card out of the phone. So, guys, I'm going to jump off of here. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a good one. Be sure to follow, and we'll see y'all in the next video.